Barnacle Bill the sailor. Ahoy, 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 a ship ahoy. I'm old and rough and dirty and tough, said Barnacle Bill the sailor. I never can get drunk enough, said Barnacle Bill the sailor. I drink my whiskey when I can, my whiskey from an old tin can. For whiskey is the life of man, said Barnacle Bill the sailor.
Yo-ho, 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 yo-ho.
Drop your decks and wash your necks, oh boy, what a show! We twist the count for miles around, come on, let's go, yo-ho, yo-ho, let's go. Hey!
A sailor's life is always wild
And free.
We sing and we play, we wait every day. We're always broke when we go back to sea.
A sailor's life, the life.
For me.
Attention. No one leaves this ship.
Oh, yeah?
Hey, there.
Oh, yeah. That's the one.
It's only me from over the sea. I'm Barnacle Bill the sailor. I'm all lit up like a Christmas tree. I'm Barnacle Bill the sailor. I'll sail the sea until I croak. I fight and swear and drink and smoke, but I can't swim a bloomin' stroke. I'm Barnacle Bill the sailor.
Are you young and handsome, sir? Are you young and handsome, sir? Are you young and handsome, sir?
I'm old and rough and dirty and tough. I never can get drunk enough. I drink my whiskey when I can, whiskey from an old tin can, for whiskey is the life of man.
I'll come down and let you in. I'll come down and let you in. I'll come down and let you in.
Well, hurry before I bust in the door. I'll rear and tear and rant and roar. I'll spin you yarns and tell you lies. I'll drink your wine and eat your pies. I'll kiss your cheeks and black your eyes.
Sing me a love so low and sweet. Sing me a love so low and sweet.
Says the fair young maiden.
16 men on a dead man's chest.
Said Barnacle Bill the sailor.
Yo-he-ho and a bottle of rum. Oh, hi, big a jig in a rolling sea. Ah-hee-yo-ho, you're the gal for me. Hurrah, my boys, for the Nancy Lee.
Sang Barnacle Bill the sailor.
Tell me that we soon shall wed. Tell me that we soon shall wed. Tell me that we soon shall wed.
I've got me a wife in every port. I'm Barnacle Bill the sailor. The handsome gals is what I court. I'm Barnacle Bill the sailor. With my false heart and flattering tongue, I courts them all, both old and young. I courts them all, but marries none. I'm Barnacle Bill the sailor.
When shall I see you again? When shall I see you again? When shall I see you again?
Never again I'll come no more. I'm Barnacle Bill the sailor. Tonight I'm sailing from this shore. I'm Barnacle Bill the sailor. If you wait for me to come, settin' and waiting and sucking your thumb, you'll wait until the cows come home. I'm Barnacle Bill the sailor. Goodbye.
Oh, well, that's it. I know.
Let's go.
And a one fish, two fish. And a one fish, two fish. And a red fish, blue fish. And a one fish, two fish. And a red fish, blue fish. And a one fish, two fish. And a red fish, blue fish. All right, I think we're good there. Let's check the YouTube. I think the YouTube's probably fine. Let's check the YouTube. I think the YouTube's probably fine. All right. Hey, Art, how are you doing tonight? What do I got over there? Oh, I'm going to shut that down. All right. We're going to work on the outfit we started earlier in the week, the Sassy Heat Wave. At this point, I managed to make shoes for it, and we were working a little bit on the accessories, I think, Tuesday. So I've got more progress on those. So we'll pick that up where I have left off. Currently, I think I've got all the parts kind of set up here for Genesis 9. We'll take a quick look. Doing well. Snow Bunny's still under the weather and getting her rest without that nasty fever. And then you got that storm, right? What are you guys going to get? You going to get ice? Is that what's on tap for you all, or are you going to get lucky and it's going to kind of miss? I think we may be in the 6 to 12 inches of snow zone right now. You know, honestly though, it's still like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. three days off, and the weather predictions can change wildly within that time. Okay, so far, I got the shoes, got this. I might redo. You're supposed to get much snow, but it all turned out to be rain. Oh, nice. I would settle for rain. All right, shoes are looking okay. We got our dress. Dress is looking fine. I'm going to switch over to that. Okay, and then we have all the jewelry kind of set up. I got my anklet. Boy, that's going slow for just an anklet. There's my left anklet. And these are kind of what we were playing with in Blender Tuesday. You know what? I'm going to touch those up a bit. I don't really need those bending when the feet bend. Or maybe we, yeah. If I actually, you know what? If we touch up the weight maps, just take off the. I'm going to try that. Let's see how this goes. So let's dig out the weight map brush here. Nope, that one right there. And what we're going to do is going to look at the so the foot bend is what's deforming us right now. So let's come over here to tool settings. So we're going to look for this, and we'll expand that. And we are going to be looking, you know what? I don't even need toes in this, but I'm looking at the foot, and we'll take a look at the weight maps on that. I'm not seeing anything because this is Genesis 9. I forgot. So we probably are looking at, maybe not. I'm not seeing any weight maps on here though. The left metatarsal is, let's see if we just take the left metatarsal off, if that changes, if I can still bend it without it looking weird. Otherwise, we might put a morph target on here. So anyhow, let's come over here, geometry selection, we'll select all. And we're going to do weight editing, and we'll fill the selection with 0. Yeah, I don't like that. I think I just need to add a... I probably just need to put a morph target in here. And there's probably a JCM already doing stuff. Or maybe not. I'm not seeing it. Actually, if you come to here, so maybe if we swap this JCM out with something that'll work a little bit better. Or maybe I'm just not going to worry about it. You know what? Maybe I will just... I'm going to put this... I'm going to get this back. I'm going to reload this and try it again. I don't want to spend too much time fixing this. I will actually want to get more to texturing tonight. And I don't know where that went, because that was the right one. That is the left one. And what am I doing? I'm going to load in a morph target. So I'm going to export this out into Blender and then bring it back. That is going to get tedious. Where's Blender when you need it? Where are you? Problem with the shortcut. Uh-oh. My Blender 5 went away. It's oh, I still have the shortcut. I thought I God dang it. My Windows still has the shortcut to 5.0, which I deleted. I want the shortcut to 5.01. So let's go get that. Where are we going? We're going over to my C drive. We're going to go to Program Files. We're going to go to Blender Foundation, and we are looking for that one right there. And I'm going to just take that, and I'm going to just pin it to my toolbar, just like that. And what are you? There we go. Yeah, Charles isn't going to be with us tonight. He's hoping he doesn't get really bad weather, but we'll see how that goes for him. Hopefully he doesn't. Maybe just gets some rain and keeps his power. So I was working on this one right here. There you go. We're not going to save that. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to load in that, and then I'm going to use this to kind of make a morph target for it. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to select this one right here. Yep, on this 8 gig you got the Twitch. Oh, nice. I'm just double checking over here. We're going to just take a look. General master resolution. It is base. It's kind of a dense mesh. Thanks for reminding me that I'm on the laptop. I'll see you on Twitch. Okay. And then let's do this. I'm going to do an export here. Export there. I'm going to call this, what do we got? We probably have a morph target right there, right? So what I'm going to do is maybe swap this out for one of my own making, is what I'm thinking. And I think you're tied to the, let's find that metatarsal over here. Left shin, left foot, left metatarsal. If we bend you some more, if I bend you like that and we come and take a look at this, that is still set to 64. Is that just the foot bend? That's just the foot bend. I'm going to try this. So I'm going to copy the name of this, I think. No, that's a controller. I don't want a controller. I want whatever the active morph is here, right there. I want that. We want to copy the name of that thing because I'm going to overwrite that. So let's copy that. Let's export this out with that name. Let's head over to the where we're working today, dresses. Sassy heat wave. There we go. Let's go into the whip. Let's set up some morphs here. Morphs. I'm just going to work in this folder right here. Cancel that because I don't know where I am. Try this again. See, I'm totally lost. Dresses, sassy, whip, morphs, and right in here, I'm going to say this as this. Save that, accept, right, pop over here. We'll load that in. There's my morphs folder. And let's grab a copy of that. So that kind of gives me an idea of the shape that I don't like that I'm going to replace this with. So I'm going to make a copy of that. And I'm actually going to rename that copy with what I'm actually going to, with that, so I know what it is. Then I'm going to reshape this to kind of be like this, but a little bit different. So I'm sort of happy with that there, but I think I'm going to pull this out and maybe angle it just a little bit. So maybe we'll just grab something in there. We'll do the good old proportional editing. wherever you are. There you are. I'm going to turn that to that. I'm going to alter that a little bit. So I'm going to just bring you down a bit and then pull you out a bit, and we'll see how this works out. And I think this will be fine. I'm trying to make sure I'm kind of outside the bounds of the current morph. I think this will work. We're going to save this now. I'm going to overwrite. That's my export. Let's make sure we use the Daz settings. And let's do this. And I could have just clicked on that. Export that. Let's pop back over. Let's load that in and see how that goes. And if I'm happy with that, boom. That's the wrong thing. That's, I just hit the simulate button. Let's not simulate. Let's clear that. All right, let's load in the morph target. You're my morph target thing. Morph Loader Pro. There you are. Choose my morph file. Now we gotta go hunting for the morph files. Dresses, sassy, whip, morphs, and there's the one we just saved. So we'll bring that in. All right, let's watch this and see that shape change. I hope. There we go. All right, let's see how this works when we move the foot around. So there's another morph that kicked in. So I think we're going to swap that out for... So once again, and then we're going to try to find... Here's the morph that just got activated, I believe. So I'm going to copy that. Hopefully this is a different name than the one we just did. All right, we're going to export this with that name. I'm going to accept that. We'll pop over here to Happy Land. Blender. We'll bring this into Blender. There's the one we just did. So that's going to look a little bit like that. And I don't want it to look a little bit like that. I want it to kind of like this, except I'm going to just move this up a little bit. I think that'll do the trick for that one. So once again, we're just going to take this, and this time I'm just going to kind of slide that up a little that way. Actually, I have an idea. I'm going to come back and I'm going to see if I can just smooth out the weights on this, and if that'll make it look better. It probably would be easier than messing around with morph targets. But I'm going to have this morph target in my back pocket just in case I need it. I'm going to overwrite that one right there. All right, let's take a quick... So I'm going to reload this. And we'll just try touching up the weight maps this time instead of making morph targets. If this doesn't work, I have the morph targets done, right? So we have bent the foot, so we're going to come over here, export that. You know what I don't need? I don't need all these toes. I'm going to worry about them later. Let's do the weight brush. Let's select the left foot. Why am I not seeing? Oh, because I have to come over here and click on that. And then we'll do the smooth. And I'm going to adjust that. And we'll see if we can just smooth that out. Daz does a really bad job of smoothing things that aren't connected, though. It won't smooth over non-connected parts, which is kind of annoying. Also, I don't see, because it's probably in the meta, and that doesn't do anything for me either, does it? Not really. So I probably am going to just have to use the morph targets. Wah, wah, wah. That's going to be tedious. All right, I'm going to reload this, and then we'll do it the morph target way. So first things first. All right. So we're going to load in the morph target. That'll smooth that out, hopefully. If not, I'm running right back to the drawing board in Blender and tease that a little bit. Jesus Christ, that's a 3 megabyte mesh. That looks a lot nicer. We'll pop over here. We'll bend that foot down. We're going to load in our other fix morph now to fix that bend. And I just have to do that. And then we'll take a look at how tedious the wrists are looking too. And accept that. There we go. That looks a lot nicer. I'm going to bend that foot around some more and see how we're looking. Looks good. Looks a lot cleaner. I wonder if I bend the metatarsals or if we... how deformed that gets. I'm not going to worry about that. All right, let's pose our feet back. That's probably... so I kind of have to do that for all of these. Let's see how the wrists are looking. Oh no, I didn't load you in. Did I not load you in? I thought I loaded the bracelets in. I guess I didn't load the bracelets in. That's right, I got distracted with the ankles. Imagine that. Let's see how much work I have to do to... I might be able... I purposely put the bracelets up the arm a little bit farther than I should have, just to avoid... the hands. You can see it's bending a little bit, but not too bad. I think I can kind of... and if I actually get rid of this, let's do that. Let's set this to 0 and see how that works out. I might have some morphs that are fighting me in there, though. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to pop over to here. I'm going to just select all. Do the weight map editing. Shift X. We want the left hand, right? That might be a morph target, actually, screwing me up. Oh, no, 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 no. I see the weight map right there. So here, we'll do this. We're going to weight edit fill selection to 0. And I'm pretty sure I'm getting janked up by a weight map now. Or by a morph, right? We come over here, take a peek in here. Yeah. See, there's my problem, child. I don't need it doing that. I'm going to overwrite that. The other way didn't look too bad, so I'm not going to bother with that, but we'll fix this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run over here into Blender. I'm going to come up here. I'm just going to take a copy of this name right here. Copy that. Come over here. I'm going to make a duplicate of this and name it for my corrective body shape. Okay, so if I don't make any changes to this, I can't use it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to nudge one vertex on this. And then it'll recognize that it's different than the base shape, and it'll let me use it as a morph target. There we go. All right, now we're going to export this. I'm going to put that name that we put right there in. We're going to pop back over to here and load that in as a morphe target, and it'll overwrite that corrective body shape that's already there. Hand, there we go. All right, let's watch. Hopefully this works. There we are. We're happy. I'm happy with that. See, that one's not too bad, so I don't think I'm going to bother with that. Just the other way got squished a little bit more. What if we go side to side? See, that looks okay too. And the twisting's fine. All right, so I just need to kind of fix that on the other side. We might as well take care of that while we're here. Nope. I'm going to do that. I am over on the right bracelet. So we're going to copy the name of this morph right here. I'm going to run back to Blender. I hit it, didn't I? There it is. I'm going to make a copy of that. I'll put that name in here so I can remember what it is. And then we hide that. And then we're just going to come in here and nudge one vertex just a wee bit so that Daz realizes that it's different. If Daz recognizes that it's the same, it won't load it as a morph target, even though it's in a different position. It's annoying. So I have to come in here and fool it. So just move that ever so slightly. Then we export this out. I'm going to use that copy right there. 70 positive, right side C. Export that, pop back over into here. Cancel that. Zoom in. And then we're just going to load that in as a corrective body shape for that. Like this. And then we do this. And then we do date modified so I can kind of see the latest is on top. And I'm going to accept that. And there we go. It's a happy camper now. Control E. All right. I'm going to set this stuff up for texturing. Oh, and the earrings. I didn't bring the earrings in. I have earrings. At least I should have earrings. Why do I only have one? Because I chose the left earring. We'll undo that. Select that. Let's choose the one that says earrings. We'll do that. And those are pretty much the same link that I'm using on the anklets and the bracelets. So it's all thematically similar. So I think we're good. They're just on here with rigid follow nodes. So if the head shape changes, these should move. So I think we're going to set some colors up on these, export them out, and then set it up to start making textures in Substance. I also still have to get these bracelets, the jewelry, loaded up on Genesis 8. Well, after I get this set up for Substance, we'll try to load these, and I'm just going to load in the Genesis 9 versions and see how they're looking. Yo, Rod, it's good to see you, man. I'm sorry about all the shit that happened, dude. I hope Jolene's doing okay. Here we go. It's the double rod shout out. So I take it Joe's in rehab for a few weeks now. I'm hoping the surgery went okay. I can't remember if you said it did or not on your enderosity. And by the way, everybody go check out Ross Renderosity for the latest rod news over there. I think I'm good. Okay. Am I using subdivision on the shoes? I don't think I am. We'll double check. General. Mesh resolution is at base. I've got that is set, so we're going to set that to base. I'm also going to set up my colors. I'm also going to take this skirt here and pull it out away from the rest of it. I'm still going to get ambient occlusion on the underside. Although I could split this through here and separate that out. I might do that. Anyhow, I think we're ready. I'm going to give these each different colors. We'll do that real quick. She's doing better. Surgery scheduled. Oh, surgery scheduled for Monday. Then she have to go back to rehab for a couple weeks at least. Oh man. So does she get that $1 million bionic leg? is that is that how it's going to work? No, this is Trump's America. You get a $12 plastic part, and you'll like it. All right, I'm going to separate out the colors on the shoes. And we're supposed to have nasty winter. Yeah, the whole country. Well, everything from the middle to the East Coast is getting ready for that shit. Charles couldn't be here, but he's hoping he doesn't lose power over the weekend. I don't know. The current forecast has us set for 6 to 12 inches of snow, which isn't really. I hate snow and I hate having to clear it, but that's nothing that unusual. All right, I think we're good. Actually, I'm gonna change the colors in on the jewelry too. So I'm gonna take that, and also this and this, and we're gonna come over here and we're gonna split all of these out. I don't need the heels. I just got the earrings. Why did I just have the earrings? There we go. That's better. Okay, we're going to open all of these up. Each one of these has 5 materials, which is overkill. Yo, Napsmore, how are you doing? It's been in 70s and upper 60s for most of the last 2 weeks in NorCal. Oh, nice. I've been working on a command. I haven't quite got it, but I have part of it. I think. I just needed to say the shout out at the same time now. So I'm working on that. That was loud. I ought to adjust that volume down a little bit. I was trying to set the command to work with StreamerBot, and I haven't quite figured out how to get it to do the shout out in the chat properly yet. That's my next step. So we're going to recolor all of these. You're going to see if you can borrow the B2. Yeah, I can understand that, Rod. That was awesome. It was a little loud. I probably should try to remember to tune it down. I think I'm going to do that right now. Well, once I get these recolored, because I'm going to forget what I'm in the middle of. And then this. Do I really need 5 materials on the earrings and the bracelets? Probably not. I have them anyhow. Okay, I'm going to bring my streamer bot up. We're going to turn that down just a little bit. See if I can do that. I think it's in commands. I think that was the Napsmore. No, it's not in here. How do I do this again? There's the actions and cues. Is that it? Actions. There we go. Napsmore. Play sound. Here, we'll adjust that volume down on that. And let's try this again. Of course, it'll be in the hundreds plus from July to August. When I lived in Sacramento, that was pretty much the standard. We would have more than 30 days a year over 100. Easy. Yo, Ruiz, how are you doing? It's good to see you. You're still selling at Daz, right? I've got to shut you out. We're gonna show everybody else, the other 3 people in chat, your Daz store. I think I can show that on stream. You have a few things, right? I think, I don't know. Actually, do you have a link to your Daz store handy, by the way? I think you could just pop that in the chat. That would be awesome. You saw the notification. I appreciate you. Thanks for popping in. It's good to see you. I'm working on this outfit here. I'm actually getting ready to send it out for substance painting. I'm just putting the different colors for the IDs. We're going to export it out. I got to pop it into Blender, rearrange everything before it goes to substance. You're at the north end of the Central Valley where the heat goes to die slowly. I'm not finding your stuff. Oh no. Oh, there's an R in there. I can't spell. Ruris. That makes a difference. There they are. Here's your store. I knew you had stuff over there. Check out our friend Ruris over here at Daz. I don't know if you got any other store links. Feel free, if you have ArtStation or an Instagram or anything, feel free to drop your links in the chat. That's more than welcome here. I know normally you just don't want to do that, but that's fine with us. Anyhow, I think did I check this snore again? I'm gonna check the snore again. I wasn't paying attention. I think that's still could probably be a little quieter. We'll try that once more. Wait a minute. Did my bot say check out our good friend Napsmore? It did. Alright, it is doing the kind of a shout out thing. That's a little better. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. There we go. We're working on the Napsmore command. You're in a quiet town, which is nice. I can get that. All right, I'm going to export all of this out now. So this has bracelets, anklets, shoes, and a dress, along with earrings. And this is the Genesis 9 version. We're going to export that out. We're going to swing back in and quickly drop these on the Genesis 8. And I forgot what I'm doing. I'm exporting. I'm going into the scene tab. That's right. I'm going to select the heels, the dress, those, and the earrings. And we're going to send that all out in one group. There, I'm going to use my secret export button. You know what? I'm going to make a substance folder in here. New folder, substance. There we go. And I'm going to, this is sassy heat wave outfit. This is the whole kit and caboodle. All of that should be good. Out it goes. Let's pop over back into Blender again. All right, I'm going to hit save on this because I don't want, I'm just going to open this in another folder. This is just the jewelry folder I was using. Let's do file new. Let's do general. Let's delete the default cube. You'd think I would save that at one point instead of just deleting it for 6 years. I think I did once, and I think I overwrote that file. What are we doing? We're importing. I'm going to come here to Morse because it's close to where I need to be. I'm going to grab that. Okay, so a few things I want to do is I want to pull the dress. I want to pull the dress apart so I don't get ambient occlusion, shading up too much of it. So we're going to tag into here. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to look for, I want the dress waist. I want the hem, and I want the dress bottom. So I'm going to separate that stuff out. Also, there's part of this. I think I'm going to pull. Where did that go? I get a feeling. Oops. I want to kind of split. There's an inside underfold that I kind of want to split out from the outside. I think that might be, so let me try. Did that go all the way around? No, I think that the first one was better. Yeah, all right, I think I'm gonna. Can I? Yeah, I'm gonna hide that. I should be able to control L, just get the underside that. And I'm just gonna kind of do the same thing. I'm just gonna separate off that selection. And then Alt H, bring that back. And this will be this part. All right, let's pop out here. Let's grab you. I'm gonna move you over here. I'm gonna put you down here. And I think that'll give me a little bit. I'm still probably gonna get some weird. I mean, okay, I think this is good. Got a question. As I see you used to rigid node to attach accessories. Yeah, I do. The real reason is it follows the geometry better. If I dial in a heavy morph, it follows the geometry. If you dial in a heavy morph and it's rigged, you have to actually go in there and adjust the joints to to adjust for that. I was trying, there was something I was making that I thought would be cool to just do it as a bone, and then I realized when I dialed the heavy morph in, the bone stayed in place. And I would have to go in and adjust all the joints for every morph, and that just struck me as a giant pain in the ass. So I went with the slacker method, which, like in here, I could rig those, but if these, but if the shape moves, it doesn't necessarily stay there, depending on the bone may not necessarily move right. On the other hand, I have this on a rigid follow node, so it'll kind of stick to that spot. That was my thinking. So that's kind of like the reason why I kind of have a tendency of using rigid follow nodes instead of making things a boned part. I think one thing, I actually rigged the item and then put it on a rigid follow node to get around. I really remembered thinking about this because I had that issue where I dialed in the heavy morph, and then I realized that the joint wasn't moving automatically, and I would have to go in and fix that, and then I would have to do that for the pear shape, and I would have to do that for the the bigger body shape, and then the thin shape I would have to bring it. So I just put a rigid follow node on there, and it just sticks to the geometry. Granted, you kind of have to adjust these things each time for poses and stuff, but I don't know. That's the way I went. So I think when I start doing custom armor again, where I have like plates or something that are going to be, I'm going to probably just stick them on with rigid follow nodes. I don't know if I actually did that with pauldrons, if I actually rigged it, but I do remember something I was rigging and I just hated the way it was going. And my brain, okay, we're done here. And this is kind of what I'm gonna, I'm gonna clump the jewelry together so it's just a little easier to work with it. We'll do that. We'll pop into here. We'll make sure we have X-ray on. I'm going to grab that. I'm just going to arrange it so all my jewelry is kind of in the same space. Oops. We'll just hit Control L and make sure we have the whole kit and caboodle. I'm going to put those down there. And I'll just bring these over here. And also it makes it easier to, let's go to UV editing. Okay, I've got 3 different UDIMs. They're all stacked on each other. Let's clear that up. So we'll grab the jewelry first and we'll just move it over GX2. Nope, I didn't grab all of it. Control L. Did I get it all that time? GX2. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Arg. Turn that X-ray on. That's better. Now we come over here, and then I lost it. Then we come over here, GX2. Finally, there it goes. Yeah, you feel free to post in the Discord. That's super cool. All right, we're going to move the shoes over because I don't want the shoes on top of the rest of the outfit. So GX1. There we go. You don't. Oh, that's because I have you split up. That's right. That looks fine. This is going to be good. This is what I'm going to send over to Substance. Although I'm probably, the jewelry is going to be resized to, I think, maybe a 1K map. And I really don't even really need a map. I can just put metallics on there. Although I think I will use a map because I do want to use my dirty. So I think this is good. Let's go back to layout. Let's export this out. File, export. Make sure I have that Daz preset so that selected only is the main thing going on here. I'm going to overwrite that. I'm going to do it again because I need a version with no materials for substance, because substance is annoying that way. And M for no materials, and export that. We are good. All right. Let's quickly get this into substance. Activate a substance painter. Here we go. Boom. I hope I clicked on the wrong thing. I wasn't paying that close attention. Hey, that's a substance painter. I clicked on the right thing. File, new, select. Yeah, we're way in the wrong spot here. Projects, dresses, sassy heat wave, whip, substance, and that one right there. If we bring it in with materials, it ends up creating all these extra texture sets that we don't want. So we're going to do it this way. At least this is the way that works for me. There we go. All right. Let's bake our mesh maps. I don't need a thickness map, and I'm going to bake the ID map separately. I haven't decided about the textures I want for this. Well, I do know I want black and white. That's always a given. Do I want to do maybe a red and a pink and a blue and a green? And I think of maybe a paisley for art for a change. And then maybe two other colored patterns. So that takes me out to what, 9? And then we do the worn versions, and then we do a tattered opacity map. We're probably not going to do all of those tonight. All right, so it's done baking those, I think. Yep, and we're using UDIMs, so 1, 2, and 3 is good. We'll bake the ID map now. We'll go get the one with the colors in it. Where's my thing? What the hell? What happened to my window with the stuff in it? Don't you hate it when all of a sudden you're used to doing something a certain way and then it's just for whatever reason isn't? I click on this and I'm supposed to get my stuff and I'm not seeing my stuff. I don't know. Is it in the viewport? Display material, display. Why am I not seeing? Where did you go? Undock. I hate it when this happens. I'm used to like working a certain way, and then when something suddenly doesn't work, I have no idea where it went. So there's a thing that should be here that I'm not seeing, and I forget what it is. Display material. No. View. Is it display settings? No, that's not. Is it? Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Log. Mesh map settings. There it is. There it is. I don't know why you're not where you're supposed to be. So here I'm going to load in that, and I want that cage to be really tight. And I don't know why you're not docked anymore. Can I just dock you there? And I don't need the display settings here. And can I undock you and put you right about? Usually it's like floating around in here somewhere. You know what? I'm just going to dock it up there. What the heck? All right, I'm going to make that cage really tight for my ID maps. It just gives me better fidelity that way. Also, we're going to save it, make that 4K. Going to bake that. Should be good. All right, let's go back to paint. Let me take a look at the ID maps here. I'm going to export these out because I'm going to use this one for making my displacement maps. So export textures. I have a preset for that, so we're going to find that. ID UDIM, there we go. Export. We'll just go take a look at my output directory. Okay, I don't need the ID map for the shoes, and I don't need the ID map for the, but I am going to use this one later on, and I got to save this because it's using that name. Okay, I got to remember to save. Close you, file save as, so that it writes the file name into the texture names. And you are Sassy. I'm just going to say Sassy. And Sassy outfit. Let's do that. Okay, now when I do file export file, it's still thinking. There we go. Export texture. See, that's better now. It says Sassy, and I don't. So I don't need that. I don't need that, and I don't need that. There we go. Cleaning it up. All right, let's go in the material and start thinking. I don't know. Do I want silk or not? I'm not sure. Let's put you back over here. Let's make this a little wider. Did I forget to put an F in there? No, I got an F in there. Although I can't see the rest of this because this is too high. There we go. I think I'm going to start. You know what? Let's just try the cotton. I'm going to give it a color so I can see it. The white's not quite working. And we'll also make sure that we use a normal map on that. I'm just going to do that just for right now. And then we're going to make sure we... And I can never navigate properly in any program anymore. I'm always trying to use the tools for another program. It hurts my head. Oops, missed. Also, this picker's kind of a sloppy tool. Not gonna lie. All right. That looks a little weird because it's inside out. Do I just got a big hole in that, or I can't tell? Did part of that get stuck still in here? I think it did. Oh, bother. All right, let's tile this up. I think it'll be fine. Maybe not. Maybe we're going to pop back into Blender and redo this. I'm going to do it. We're going to do this the right way. Doy. Let's come back over here. Let's tap in. Let's zoom in. There we go. You can see the part that I accidentally left behind. It must have looped or something. If I do that and then just expand that until I'm kind of happy with it. Is that where I want that? I want to go back one. I keep trying to click on something and I'm getting something else. There we go. I'm going to try to just realign that back up with the rest of the inner skirt. I could just for this flip that normal. You know, let's just join those. Art. That's better. You know what? That's probably close enough. I should probably re-weld these for what I need to do. I'll do that. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's select that and that. And that. Go to this, and we'll just merge by distance. And I don't know if that worked. That didn't work. Okay, let's try that again. I need a little bit. My merge by distance tends to be really small by default. So I'm going to make you a little bit larger. I think that did the trick. All right, let's re-export this. Rebake it. I have to do this twice again. That was an import, wasn't it? That is an export. Export that. Select that and overwrite that one. Hop back over here. Let's reload. Reload that. Okie dokie. All right, we're going to go back and I'm just going to rebake everything. This will probably reset back to the way it was after we're done baking. Should be fine. So I'm just going to make sure I've got the right one selected. So rebake the ID map. I'm going to rebake these maps. That I don't need anymore. You I'm going to set back to 2K. Is there the reset in here? Reset defaults. There we go. That resets the cage. Should be good. It's running a little slow while it cranks through this. All right, it's working on the third one. Probably good. All right. Let's hit save on that. Come back over here. You're still thinking. I know. Still saving. I see that. It's still thinking about it. Still saving the project. I think it's done. There we go. Go back to painting. Okay, this should be fine. What do I get a little... I need to touch up. My ID map selection is a bit a little... Oh, those are the attachments. I might as well make sure they're... There we go. Is anything else looking like this color? Nope. All right, we're good. I'm going to tweak the tiling on that because that looks a little rough. That's probably going to be a little bit better. All right, let's put metal on these. You know, I think I'll just start with a sliver. Maybe use is the silver armor. I want a simple material, so I'm just going to use this. I'm going to put that there. And then I'm just going to make sure that we attach it to the other 4. There should be 4. There we go. And there's one more. That's not selected. Are you it? Nope, I already had you. Got it. Okay, there we go. I have all these separate materials that if I want to, I can change the colors of the different parts. And let's work on the shoes a little bit. Uh-oh. I think my cotton got screwed up. Dang it. I accidentally dropped the silver in on the cotton. Let's see if we can fix that. All right, that's better. And let me turn the normal on that. I don't know. Are we using, you know what? I'm going to turn the height map on that. Let's go get the leather for the shoes. Where's my shoes? There we go. Let's zoom in on that. So I'm going to put a suede in here. We're going to use a silk in here. And then I'm going to use some leathers here, a different leather here, and a little bit of rubber on the heel tip. So that's the plan for the shoes. So let's start with leather. There's a smooth kind of finished leather, fine leather. That's what we're going to start with. And also I'm going to put that on the midsole and the heel. I'm going to shine that up a little bit too. I seem to have missed. You know, the ID map has been bleeding on me. It didn't used to do that, but now it does. So I don't know. If I save this, is that actually going to do that, or is it actually going to bleed over? It might not do that. I'm going to test it a little bit later. I'm going to put a rubber heel tip on right now. What are you? You got a weird texture to it? No, you're probably good. I'm going to use that. All right, and this is a kind of a nice. Are you the complicated one though? No, you're actually simple. I like you. I'm going to actually use a suede on the inside. I'm going to change that color, and then we'll put a silk down in here. You know what? I'll use that one. And I'm going to use another rougher leather for the bottom of the sole. Oh no, that got changed, which tells me I probably have colors that are too close to each other. So we're going to tweak that tolerance and make it a little tighter. That did not. I'm on the wrong thing. Oh no, I changed my material there by accident. Once again, I accidentally dragged a material onto there. I didn't even realize I was doing it. All right, let's look at the rubbers again. Dirty floor rubber. That's actually what I wanted to use anyhow. We're gonna change the color on that. But for right now, And then I'm going to look for worn leather for the bottom of the sole. Maybe I do have a tendency using the same things over and over again. We'll probably, here, we'll try the lambskin. And I'll just put that down there. And I think we'll tweak that a little bit. Let's make sure we're using a normal on that. Actually, let's just go through and make sure I've got normal and height clicked on all of this. I know you're not supposed to, but I do use bump maps and normal maps together. I'm a bad boy. Okay, I think we're good. I gotta actually start thinking about color schemes. Let's go shopping. I'm gonna... So I found this outfit at Shein, that evil fast fashion site. But it does kind of show a contemporary fashion. Everybody always inundates you with crap when you ever log into a site. There it is. This is the dress that I'm basing this off of. So that comes in yellow, and you can also get it in... These are all the colors. I'm not... Shan? No, that's not 3D shards. Well, that's kind of... So maybe I'll do a couple of florals. We'll do a paisley. Or maybe a batik. I kind of like that. So we're definitely going to do a black and a white. I think I'm going to do maybe a red. That green's not too bad. Maybe a pink. Red, pink, light green. So let me set up the basic colors and then we'll look at patterns. Oops, don't tell her. Don't worry. I won't. Your secret is safe with me, Art. I'm going to group all the shoe stuff together. I got a lot of stitching I can do on the shoes. Group layers. And come over here. This outfit really doesn't lend itself to having really visible stitching, so we're not going to do that. Do I have an opacity map with that? I do not. Is there an option for an opacity map with that? There actually kind of is, isn't there? I think I'm going to use that. I think that'll be fine. And I think for the jewelry, for the most part, I'm just going to use the... I don't even know if I'm going to use the metallicity map. I might use the metallicity map. Actually, I am going to make color maps too because I want dirty versions. So I probably should separate. So here, you know what? I'm going to put this into a group. Can I just group it by itself? Is that an option? Group layers. There we go. Jewelry. So we're going to have silver and gold and maybe brass. You know what? Glass would be kind of cool. Substance really doesn't have good glasses, though. Oops, did I accidentally clicked on something when I didn't mean to? Oh, you know what? I can do this. I can duplicate. I'm duplicating this because it has my color selections already done. And then I can take you and drop you into there. Say that. And do we get an opacity option with that? I think so. So we're going to do that. I have no idea. Does this thing have, this has kind of chromatic colors. We'll come back to this later. I want to call that chromatic glass. And maybe we'll do a few glass versions. And so I'm going to duplicate you. And maybe we'll do silver and gold. And maybe I'll do some glass versions. And I don't have opacity on the shoes. You know what? I'm going to stick a fill layer way in the back, and it's just going to have a basic opacity so that it fills in. So if a layer doesn't have an opacity, I automatically know it'll be white. It'll help me see things better. Likewise, I'm going to give it a height channel, and we're just going to dial that all the way back to that, just in case something doesn't have a height channel already in it. And kind of give me a feel for where I am with that. Anyhow, let's go back to the normal material. Okay, let's set up for white, which means I'm going to do silver jewelry with that. I got to catch another. Hey, thanks for being here, Ruris. We will catch you later, man. Am I done? I'm going to, you know what? We're going to group this. I think I would remember Control G, but I don't. White. Yeah, when we say white, we actually mean light gray. And I like my whites to be kind of cool, so we're going to do that. Daz tends to blow whites out anyhow. Duplicate layer. This will be black. And when I say black, I of course mean dark gray. All right, let's duplicate that. Let's make that one red. I like that kind of dark ox blood red. So put you all the way there and come into about here. Let's duplicate that. I'm going to make this that light green. I'm just going to say green here. I'm going to color sample from off the page. Green. So click on this and then run over. And try to find maybe something like that. I'll duplicate that. Let's go with maybe a rose gold or something. We'll see. I'm going to call it pink for right now. Or rose. Let's call it rose. I'm shopping over on the other. I'm seeing if I'm looking. I think this is relatively safe. Maybe, yeah, maybe like that. I think that's pink. I'm going to move that to the other side because just to be safe. And I lost it, and there it is. And I kind of like that. What is that? They call that pink, so we're going to call that pink. I think I want that to be a little. I actually kind of want. I like my pinks to be shaded towards that. Maybe somewhere there. I don't. Maybe. Nah, I'm gonna shade it back to here. All right, I think I'm gonna stick with that. All right, let's and then we're just gonna put a fill layer in here and we'll put a pattern on that. So we're gonna do 3 fill layers for colors. I think maybe 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna stick with 8. Let's do that. Let's come over here. Let's clear that filter. Are you? Are you not white enough to show everything? Are you? Where are my textures? Oh, those are my textures. Okay. I have a lot of merchant resources in here. We're just going to kind of scroll through those till I see something I like. And then kind of do something like that. And actually, that's not exactly what about you? That's another. If I do that, I might drop the pink, but I don't like the patterns so much. Well, that actually might be fun. Let's go. Let's see what else. Actually, our Paisley's under P. Let's go get the Paisley out of the way. Pat, Pay. I have no idea where the Paisleys are. I like these boutiques. I tend to use them a bunch. So, you know what? Maybe we'll just go with that. Go with that. And let me see if I can track down where all the Paisleys went. I've got so many of these merchant resources in here now. It's actually getting harder and harder to find things. But I'm getting cooler and cooler patterns, so of course nothing's cooler than Paisley. I was looking at what 70s fashion and I saw some outfits made out of Paisley. Maybe I'll do the I always did kind of like this. No, I don't think so. Not today. And I like these, but I'm not going to use a punky goth thing today. Those are the mystic ones. I'm probably going to have to go into my merchant resource directory and figure out where they are. Dang it. So we're going to do that. And I'm pretty sure these are tennis. Although we'll take a quick look just to make sure none of these say Paisley. No, I think one of these has got a Paisley. There's a Paisley. What are you hiding the Paisleys as? Maybe I don't have any of the Paisleys loaded. P-A-I. I don't, let's try that. P-A-I. I don't have a lot of Paisleys. That's what it is. That always looks so 70, that one right there. Here, we'll take a look at these and see if there's any in here that I don't already have loaded that we like. That's not really a paisley though, is it? Yeah, I'm not liking it. No, that's not quite. It's one of those things. I'm going to quickly scroll to the bottom and maybe work our way up. That's the one we got. That one's not too bad. I do kind of like the colors in that, but it's similar to the batik that I decided not to go with. That one's just, actually, that's just flowers, but that's kind of pretty. Dum dum dum. I'm probably just going to go with the orange one because I'm so boring that way. Oh, I didn't use the batik one, so maybe that. Let's tile that up though. I think that'll be fine. All right, let's take a look at our other. I like that the way it is. That one, I don't know if we tile that some more. I think I kind of liked it a little larger, so maybe we'll leave it like that. So I think there's a good. I didn't name you. You're going to be colors or dress. I'm going to say dress. We'll do that. I'm going to close that down for now. And let's work on setting up some shoe colors. You know, gold would probably. For this, there's a whole bunch of colors I have to change at once, so I'm going to call this black. Black shoes. I do want to make that a little shinier. So let's come over here and tweak the roughness. Also, we're going to do this for the black, so I'm going to change that color a little bit like that, because what was in there was a really dark brown. And we'll probably tweak the color of that leather a little bit. There's the roughness, so I'm just going to tweak the roughness up a bit. I guess I'm glad I got a Cox cable. I've got to renew my choice, but not sure which is cheaper per month if I accept HBO, but $20 per month cheaper for 3 years seems like a good deal. Does. Yes, it does. All right, I'm going to make this kind of a neutral gray. We're going to make that a gray. Like that. We're going to make that little tip black. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do the stitches on the shoes now. Also, we'll make that a neutral color too. More neutral. So I'm going to run a line of stitching through here. 2 lines of stitching here. a line of stitching around the edge of this and maybe one right down the back. I think that'll be... I can't use mirroring with this because all the other stuff's in the way, so I have to do that on both sides. But let's come right above here. Let's put a paint layer there. I am going to just use this. Let's go to apparel. Let's do top stitching straight. I'm going to draw one in first, and then we'll adjust the sizing and everything. I'm going to, I need to see my wireframe here. Let's come over here and turn on that so I can kind of see. Oh no, I'm stuck in the other shoe. Yeah, I'm going to just put all of this along that edge there. Gives me a, helps me set up a nice neat line. Oops, you got a little off. Those are fine. All right, let's tweak the settings on this. I'm going to switch the thread to bright red. We're going to use a hue and saturation filter on that later. Let's turn normals on. Let's change the sizing to be really a lot smaller. Let me change that projection depth. So hopefully like so. And where is the size? There we go. We say 1. I'm going to lighten up on the puckering here for the leather. Say 3, that's too much. We say 2. You know what? That might do the trick. Puckering, there we go. Let's say leather. And I'm going to dial that intensity back a little bit on that. And I think that's going to be good for that. So I think we can use that for setting up the others. All right, hit the escape key and come over. Do I want it there? Do I want it? Yeah, I'm gonna do it there. Actually, I'm gonna move it just inside that line like so. Oh no, I think that's good. Hit the escape key, we'll pop over to the other side. And we'll run that. I wanted that on the inside, that's right. So let's move you over there. Then we can just carry on. I thought I just clicked there. It was busy. All right. Let's run along this back edge here. I'm going to run it through here, I think. I'm going to run a pucker line through there. you won't be able to see the seams, but you'll see the puckering on that edge. Okay, do I have a, do we just have a pucker option? Seam puckering fabric, there we go. And then we'll adjust that. Projection depth will be 0.1. I'm going to make that smaller. Boy, you really aren't blending out nicely, are you? All right, let me turn you off. Oops. Oh, I have to do the other side. So escape. Boop. 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 I think you are going to end there. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to copy that. I might need it. No. Did I not hit the escape key? I guess I did, but I selected another. All right, we are doing the little red stitches. I can see them. All right. Then back the other way. Okay, and then last ones are going to go through here. And that should finish up the stitches. Because we don't like them snitches. All right. I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're good. Do I need this on any other parts? Kind of thinking about it here, except I can't really use this pen tool because the way I'm not going to use it on there. Never mind. I'm just going to use it on the shoes. And I think we're good with that. So I'm going to, dang it, I'm going to turn that off. Go pop over here so I can see my red stitches. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to switch this. Going to label it so we know what it is. Oakley dokley, we got 15 minutes. We're making okay time. I'm going to put a hue and saturation and lightness filter on here. And we're actually going to drive the color using that. That's the reason why I use a red. It's nice, bright, and saturated, so it makes it easier to use the hue and saturation filter. Switch you to regular. And what I'm going to do is we're going to pull the saturation off of that. And I'm going to kind of set this up as a default. It's going to be dark and saturation. And I'm going to set the color to kind of multiply. And we're going to dial that back a little bit. So it gives me a little darker color than what's underneath it. So with the black, you really can't see that though. But we're going to duplicate you. This will be white. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm kind of setting up these things as I go. Beige or nude. Let's go shoe shopping at Amazon. Actually, Shen sells shoes, don't they? Shoes. There we go. Let's see if we can get some. Usually like beige and black and red. Maybe apricot. That's what that's. What is that called? Mauve. I don't like the mauve. So we're definitely going to do a white. Barely pink. I don't think I'm going to do a barely pink. I'm going to do a pink. I just want a black. That's rose red. That's kind of. I might do a red similar to the other one. Burgundy. It's Ron Burgundy. I might be able to use a brown. We'll see what colors we have. I think I want to use a turquoise. It's kind of matching the colors with whatever dress colors I use. I think we'll do it that way. All right, we're going to put you off to the side. I don't need you. So we do need a black. We do want a white. I will get a red and a pink. I don't know. What are my dress colors again? That could probably go with a tan. That. So I'm going to use the pink there. Do I want to use a green? I don't know if I want to use a green. I do want to use a red with that, use a black with that, use a white with that. Maybe I could probably pair that with something like the white. That might look okay with the white. Or maybe a gold. Instead of pink, maybe a gold. And so what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a tan kind of matches with that. And a turquoise or a dark turquoise or something. I can't spell turquoise. Turquoise, there we go. All right, turn all of these up. All right, let's build these color sets out. So I actually have turquoise over on screen too, so I'm probably going to do something like sampling. Oops, I didn't want that. You know what? The Lauren, that should just either be brown or black. I think we'll slide you back into the brown again. You know, the dirty rubber's fine. Silk generic. We'll make that. And the leather suede will also kind of match that, but a little bit different. And then the fine leather, I'll do that, but I think I wanted that to actually kind of be a dark version. I think that'll be good. And then we have even darker thread from the multiplying. All right, moving along to the tan shoes. I'm bringing up a pair of nude shoes over on screen too, and I'm going to kind of use that as a color sample. So what I do is, what are we on? The worn lambskin. You know, we're going to make you browner. Dirty rubber. You know what? We're going to make that kind of a tannish, a little bit darker tan. Silk generic. That I'm going to sample from over here on screen 2. Likewise, we'll do the same thing with the suede. Actually, I'm just sampling that from the inside of the shoe. That's a little, I'm going to lighten that up a little. And there we go. I like that better. And then that's the main color. So that kind of works with that. All right, moving along. Let's say for this, actually, I think I might use a. So I'm trying to keep mostly the same metallicity, roughness, you know, and bump maps and things. But for the gold shoe, I think we're actually going to just do it. It'll have its own. So I'm going to come over here for metallic leather. And I'm just going to grab, where is it? Where is it? There's a, like a metallic lambskin. Or it is metallized lambskin. There we go. So I'm just going to use a metallized lambskin in here. And maybe keep the rest of that, the black. Maybe not. I think we're going to make that more tanny. Which means I'm going to put a cream in the insole. I think I like that. Oh, you know what? I have to. Did I get the midsole? I think I missed the midsole, didn't I? I'm trying to apply that to the midsole. I think I hit it. I'm using. I'm. That's the silk. Where's my gold? Where'd my gold go? Oh, my gold's all the way up here. Let's put the gold down in here. There we go. I'm going to tweak the tiling on that a little bit. Did I click? I think I missed. And let's turn that normal map on there. And let's say maybe 3 on the tiling. Maybe 2 on the tiling. Yep, that'll be the gold. Moving along. So the red, you know what? For the red, I might just leave everything else black and just change this to red. Actually, I'm going to make that a tan. Yeah, we'll make these warm colors. I'll leave the sole and the heel tip alone, though. Oops, that's the rubber. Dang it. I wanted the suede. That's what I'm trying to... Oh, and I accidentally changed the silk back. That's for forever. You know what? I kind of liked it. Maybe black. I kind of like it as black. All right, moving along. And then white. And with that, we'll probably... I'm going to quickly save this out and we'll load it up. But there's still a little bit more work to do. And then we need the dirt. So where are we? We're doing the white shoes. And these are just basically kind of like these colors, but light. You know what? I like the... We're just going to make that gray a little bit lighter. And maybe shade it to the blue a little bit. Dirty rubber is probably good. Silk generic. We're going to kind of do the same thing. Leather suede. I think I just touched that up. Fine leather. Somewhere in there. That'll be the white one. So what color do I want to go with this? I don't know. Let's see what we're going to export. What do I got for the jewelry right now? I got the silver. Let's put the gold on for the jewelry. Let's do the red dress for now. Let's do the red shoes. And actually, maybe I'll go with the pink and the gold. Yeah, we'll start with the pink and the gold. So I'll turn you off. We'll go with the gold shoes. All right, let's export this out and see and quickly drop it on in Daz and call it a night. Let's hit save. Control Shift E. Let's export this out. I'm going to use my 6-channel UDIM because we've got an opacity map in there. I'm going to export that out. We're going to run over to our directory, not over there, but over in the projects folder. In Sassy and runtime and textures and this, and I don't have this named yet, Sassy Heatwave. And then in here, new folder, Heatwave dress. Jewelry. And then shoes. All right, we should have our exports done. Okay, so this I'm going to move over into my whip folder. We'll come back to that later. Okay, these O1s are for the dress. Where am I? I was looking right at it. Whip. In here. So the O1s go into here. O2s are the shoes, which are these ones right here. And these 1003s are the jewelry. So we'll just dump those in here. Is good. All right, let's adjust these so it's easier to work with. All right, I'm going to save. I think I saved this, but we're going to save it again. Put that off to the side. You I don't need, but I think I'm just going to not close you just yet. Back into Daz. And we'll start with the dress. We'll come over here. Should be good. I'm going to reapply my generic shader. And then we'll pop back over into here and go to dress. And my base color did not come out right. What the hell? Let's try this again. My base color, it's been doing that recently. Weird shit with the base color. And did that base color is good. That base color is fine. That base color came out white. I'm going to just export this again, but just with the base colors this time. That one right there. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to rename that pink if it's pink. It is pink. Yay. There we go. All right, those are just duplicates of what we already have. Control X. Let's zoom over to here. Get rid of that. Paste that. Is good. The metallic. If I switch to, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and the height map. Why is my height map black? Is there anything in here? I can't tell. I can't. I might punch that up. Also, my normal map looks kind of... I might punch these up for the fabric because they're looking awful flat. But for right now, I'm just going to drop you into the bump channel. You go into the normal channel. That's just slightly opaque, so we'll put you into the opacity. We'll add a displacement channel later. Metallicity. I already did height. I think that leaves roughness and the base color. All right, we'll do the jewelry now. I'm going to select the earrings first. I don't know if I got them both. Got them both. And then we can grab all of these. We'll pop over here and we'll just get them all the same. We're just going to make them all gold right now. And you know that height map. I don't, for the jewelry, I'm going to skip the height map. And let's set you back to the base. Color. Metallicity. Normal. Opacity. I don't need that opacity map. And roughness. We might tweak that roughness a little bit. And let's load the shoes up. Okay, so these are for the gold shoes. That is a weird ass looking normal map. I'm not sure what's going on with the green. I'll have to revisit that. I think that's going to look strange. I'm going to rename these. Actually, let's do that. Let's do... That doesn't need an opacity map. I'm going to say gold there. The roughness map needs to be a little different. That'll be gold there. And this is going to be gold there. I'm probably going to swipe these out for something else. But for right now, I got the normal map done. Plopping the height map in. You are the roughness map. You are the metallicity map. And you are the color map. And let's do a quick render and call it a day. Control, you're probably going to Control D. There we go. Control R. See where we are. I still need a displacement map to make the thickness of the dress pop. It's going to look like that paper thin. Ooh, ouch, that hurt. I got to tweak my default settings, don't I? Let's make you 14. Let's turn that burn highlights to 0.05 instead of 1. I have no idea how that ever got saved like that. All right, let's try this. While that's cooking, let's take a look at who's on Twitch tonight and see if we can find somebody to raid. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Hey, that's coming along nicely. That's a little too shiny, I think. I'm going to have to tweak that roughness. I'm happy with the shoes. I think the jewelry's looking okay. I'm going to... Did I accidentally drop the wrong roughness map in here? That's what I'm starting to wonder. Let's take a look. Nope, I got the right one. That should probably be lighter, is what I'm thinking. Anyhow, let me, we'll just rerun to this and we'll call it a night. Hey, if you're on YouTube, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Like and subscribe. That would be super. If you're on Twitch, we're going to go find somebody else on Twitch to go hang out with. It is Thursday. Maybe my good friend Dr. DK is streaming tonight, in which case we'll go raid him. He does Americana trash music. Super cool cat. And if he's not on, we'll see if one of the art friends is on. But we're gonna stroll down to the bottom of my follow list and work our way back up. Infozar's on. Zyrostana, we just raided on Tuesday. Hey, yeah, thanks for being here, Rod. I'm glad you were able to make it, man. I hope things get worked out for the best. Oh no, I'm still... DJ Ray's on. Maybe we'll say hi to Ray. I'm seeing if Bad Tooth Records is on. His streaming's been a little irregular recently, so you know what? We're just gonna go hang out with DJ Ray, our good friend Ray. So if you want to stick around for that raid, that would be awesome. DJ Ray. And these days it's actually DJ Ray Partey. So let's go over and say hi to our friend Ray. Thank you all for being here. What is today? Is it Thursday already? I will be back Saturday. We may still be working on this. Or I may start working on some of the stuff for that rogue outfit I put off to the side a few weeks back. Wait, let me spend some points. Oh no. What are you going to do? Lead the raid? Is that it? Burn them points, baby. Burn them points. By the way, if you can stick around for the raid and you're not a follower, you get to use this raid call on Twitch. If you're a sub, you get to use the sub raid call. We'll do that. Did you burn the points? Did I see the points get burned? I don't care. Where is Art? Yep, DJ Ray. All right. Let's do this. Let's go over and say hi to DJ Ray / raid. I have to copy and paste this because he's got too many underscores in there for me to keep track of. Control V. There we go. Hey, I hope everything works out better for you in the future, Rod. Art, it is always a pleasure to catch you, buddy. Tell Snow Bunny I say howdy. Napsmore, it was good to see you, and Rurus, it was a pleasure to have you pop in. Um, Check out Rurus over at Daz, super cool cat. I think did I start the raid? I did. I'm gonna come over here. I see my raid has been started. I'm copying my raid call, and let's go over and say hi to Ray. So I will be back Saturday 1 p.m. and then there's the Saturday Night Social 8 p.m. Eastern time. And take care, everybody. Hasta la vista, baby.